It's been called one of the most flawlessly executed films in American cinema. A story so powerful it swept all 5 major Academy Awards. Something only 2 other movies in history have ever achieved. More than just a film, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest became a cultural lightning rod, forever changing how we view mental illness, power, and rebellion. But here's what most fans never knew. Jack Nicholson's performance was so disturbingly real, hospital staff mistook him for an actual patient. But he wasn't the only one who blurred the line between character and madness. What happened behind the scenes was darker, riskier, and far more unhinged than anything that made it onto the screen. Today we're uncovering the hidden truth about what really happened on the set. The dangerous techniques, the breakdowns that weren't just acting, and the real-life patients and institutions that inspired the most chilling moments. This wasn't just a movie. It was a psychological experiment, one that pushed everyone involved to the brink. You won't believe what Louise Fletcher did to become Nurse Ratched. A transformation so complete it terrified her co-stars off camera. Or the deleted scene so disturbing that test audiences couldn't handle it. This isn't just another behind-the-scenes story. This is the untold madness that created a masterpiece. From the actor who was secretly committed during filming to the real patients who appeared on screen without viewers ever knowing. These aren't just trivia facts. They're the shocking revelations that the cast has finally decided to share after years of silence. And I promise you this, by the time we're done, you'll never see One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest the same way again. The film that almost never happened. The journey of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest from page to screen isn't just troubled, it's absolutely mind-blowing. What most fans don't realize is that this Oscar-winning masterpiece came within days of being completely abandoned. Kirk Douglas, not Jack Nicholson, was supposed to be Randall McMurphy. After starring in the Broadway version, Douglas purchased the film rights in 1963, convinced he created the role of a lifetime. But Hollywood slammed the door in his face, not once, not twice, but for nearly a decade. Every major studio in town rejected it, revealed producer Michael Douglas, Kirk's son. They called it too depressing, too controversial, too unmarketable. My father became obsessed with getting it made. Here's where things get heartbreaking. By the time Michael finally secured independent financing, his father had aged out of the role he'd fought so long to play. Imagine spending 10 years of your life fighting for a dream, only to watch someone else live it out. Telling my father he wouldn't be playing Mucker was one of the hardest conversations I've ever had. Michael Douglas admitted he understood intellectually, but emotionally it crushed him. The rejection by major studios forced the producers to get creative. With Hollywood turning its back on them, they secured backing from a tiny company called Fantasy Films, a decision that would completely transform the movie. Without studio, executives breathing down their necks, they could make one critical decision that changed everything. Film in an actual mental institution with real patients as extras. You heard that right. This wasn't shot on a Hollywood soundstage. They filmed inside Oregon State Hospital, a functioning psychiatric facility where actual patients lived and received treatment. The worn linoleum floors, the institutional green walls, the sterile day room, these weren't set decorations. This was somebody's reality. But Dr. Dean Brooks, the hospital superintendent, didn't just allow filming. He made a shocking demand that no one expected. Dr. Brooks insisted we hire actual patients as extras and crew members. Revealed producer Saul Zentz, about 80 patients worked on the film. The line between movie making and reality started blurring from day one. Pay close attention. Next time, you watch the basketball scenes or the group therapy sessions. Some of those people aren't actors at all. They're real psychiatric patients whose genuine behaviors and mannerisms were captured on film. Even more surprising, the film's visionary director, Milos Forman, was the producers' 5th choice. The first 4 turned it down. Forman, who had fled communist Czechoslovakia, saw something in the story that American directors missed. When I read the book, I recognized something familiar. the mental hospital as a metaphor for the totalitarian system I had escaped. Foreman revealed, "I understood this story in my bones." Perhaps most shocking of all, Ken Casey, who wrote the original novel, hated what they were doing with his story so much that he removed himself entirely from the production. The author of this beloved American classic never even watched the finished film. Keyes wanted the story told from Chief Brandon's perspective, as it was in the novel, explained screenwriter Bowman. When we changed that fundamental approach, it created a rift that never healed. This troubled path to production, a decade of rejection, a father's dream deferred, a foreign director who saw America through Outzer's eyes, real patients working alongside actors, and the original author walking away created a perfect storm of creative tension. What emerged wasn't just a movie. It was a cultural revolution disguised as a film, the real patients behind the characters. What happened on the set of Cuckoo's Nest wasn't just filmmaking. It was a psychological experiment that blurred the line between performance and reality in ways that would never be allowed today. Here's the shocking truth most fans never realize. The cast didn't just act in a mental institution. They lived in one. Jack Nicholson and the actors playing patients actually slept in the hospital wards for the first week of production. Not in private rooms, not in VIP accommodations, in actual patient quarters, following hospital routines, eating institutional food, and immersing themselves in a world few outsiders ever see. After a few days, we started to feel institutionalized ourselves, revealed Danny DeVito, who played Martini. The locked doors, the structured schedules, the constant supervision, it gets into your head. You start to understand why the patients behave the way they do. This immersion went far beyond method acting. It started affecting the actors' actual mental states. Sidney Lassick, who portrayed the emotionally fragile Twick, had the most disturbing experience. During filming, he began having trouble separating himself from his character. The line between acting and genuine emotional distress became dangerously thin. Will you? Wait, I want you to know something right here and now, Miss Ranchard. I ain't no little kid. You said I ain't no little kid. Sidney had trouble separating himself from his character. Brad Dourif, who played Billy Bibbit, disclosed there were days when he would stay in character between takes, trembling and emotional. The hospital staff became so concerned about his mental state that they suggested he sleep at a hotel instead of in the ward. You read that correctly. The psychiatric staff became worried about an actor's actual mental health during filming. But the most mind-blowing casting decision involved the extras. Look closely during group scenes and you'll notice something extraordinary. Some of those background performers move differently, respond differently, exist differently on screen. That's because they aren't acting at all. There's a scene where McMurphy leads a basketball game in the yard, noted assistant director Irby Smith. If you look carefully, you'll notice some of the players move and respond differently. Those are actual patients participating in the film. Next time you watch, pay special attention to those background faces. You're not watching performances. You're witnessing genuine human behavior captured on film. The casting process itself was unlike anything done before or since. Foreman arranged improvisational sessions where actors interacted with the patients not knowing who was who. Milos would bring in several actors auditioning for each role, explained producer Michael Douglas. They would mingle with patients in the day room, staying in character. Then he would ask the patients which new patient seemed most authentic. Their insights often influence his casting decisions. Think about that for a moment. The most realistic portrayals of mental illness in cinema history were literally chosen by people with mental illness who thought they were evaluating new patients, not actors. Perhaps the most remarkable discovery was Will Sampson, the Native American actor who portrayed Chief Brandon. He had never acted professionally before. He was working as a rancher and firefighter when the casting director found him, through a car salesman who knew tall Native Americans in the region. When Will walked onto the ward, something extraordinary happened, recalled Louise Fletcher. The actual patients responded to him with a kind of reverence. They sensed something special about him, the same quiet dignity that comes through on screen. This unprecedented collaboration between filmmakers and a mental health community created something that transcended traditional filmmaking. The behaviors, mannerisms, and interactions depicted in the film weren't merely researched or imagined. They were observed, absorbed, and respectfully recreated by a cast that had literally lived among the very people they were portraying. Dr. Brooks insisted that this integration benefited the patients therapeutically. Several later credited the experience with helping their recovery, proving that sometimes the line between portraying healing and actually creating it can be remarkably thin. Louise Fletcher, The Terrifying Truth Behind Nurse.